Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's community chat and live broadcast. Today, we're going to be talking about why we store body fat. And I'm going to share with you what leptin resistance is and how we can balance out that hunger hormone. So leptin is just basically one of our hunger hormones. So welcome if you're joining us live. My name is Diane. I am a fasting mindset coach. I have been teaching women how to use intermittent fasting to reverse the signs of aging here in this community now for almost 4 years, I believe it is. It's been a while. So welcome. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. This is our time as a community to gather. For those of you who catch us on the rebroadcast, I'd like to also welcome you as well and know that I do go back and check all the comments. So please make sure if you have a question about this comment that you leave it in the comment section and I will make sure to get that answered for you. So as always, I like you to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, that you have followed the Facebook page, and that you are hitting that like button if you're interested in hearing about how leptin can be the hormone that's holding you back from what it is you're hoping to get with what we're doing here in this community, and that is incorporating the practice of intermittent fasting as a lifestyle. So why we store body fat is just basically the result of us being in a leptin resistant type of environment with our body chemistry. So, here I like to talk about body chemistry and understanding how the choices that we make and the things that we do really do change our body chemistry and then in fact change what our hormones are doing. So we want to make sure that we are aware of all of that so that we have the information that we need so that we can control our hormones and we can predict what's going to happen with our body chemistry based on those changes. So give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and see me okay. I know the last broadcast we had, there were some audio issues, so I want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. So just let me know in the comment section. So what is leptin resistance? So when we are leptin resistant, that is when our body, as a protective mechanism, stores our body fat instead of making it available for energy. So if you follow along with us here in our community, hopefully that we do incorporate, or I like to encourage women to incorporate the practice of intermittent fasting. So that's fasting and feasting within that 24-hour window, and really creating an environment for ourselves where we can control everything that's going on with our hormones, specifically hunger hormones. And the end result of that is making sure that we are comfortable and confident in the skin that we're living in. So starvation mode is really the end result of what leptin resistance is. And that is the thing that we have as women, we're taught to avoid starvation mode. What we needed to do was consume food continuously throughout our day, manage our caloric intake, make sure that we exercised away food decisions, and that we always kept our body in that mode of having to break down and process food. And that has actually created starvation mode for us. I've talked about that a lot here when we talked about hunger hormones. And so the process of doing that over our life and dieting away things and exercising things away and not understanding our hunger hormones has really put us in a place today of the state of imbalance that so many of us are frustrated with. And our hunger hormones are all interconnected. Remember, when one goes up, one goes down. And so when they're out of balance, oftentimes a lot of them are out of balance. And so we've talked about insulin resistance. We talked about our ghrelin hormone. We talk about our neuropeptides. We talk about insulin. All of those are hormones that are interconnected. Leptin is the one that doesn't get as much of attention or discussion for some reason, but it is the reason so many of us are hoarding body fat as opposed to utilizing that as our source of energy. So leptin has a cool little nickname that will help you remember what its job is, and that is called leveling leptin. So leptin really is the hormone that balances out the calories in and the calories out need for our body, which is why we should not over concern ourselves with counting calories or trying to exercise away any sort of caloric intake that we make. There's a hormone that is its specific job, and that is leptin. And it does control the energy that's available to use and it sends you signals that you need to bring calories in. So, leptin surveys and maintains energy balance in our body. It acts as our own internal calorie counter, which is why I really do encourage women to throw out all of those apps that you're using to count your calories. You are going against your body's natural ability to regulate this on its own. And once you start listening to the signs and signals that your body is sending you, and you understand these chemical processes, we don't have to worry ourselves or occupy our brain with any of those calorie counting type of techniques, because our body is going to send us the signals and it's going to be able to create its own energy by making fat available for us. So, leptin increases our desire to eat, not our need for food. So I'm gonna read that one again. Leptin increases our desire to eat, not our need for food. And that is that mindset shift that so many of us women really need to start to understand, is that just because you have the sensation or the craving for something doesn't necessarily mean that that's what your body actually needs. It's just the situation of having our leptin being out of balance and sending the incorrect signal to our brain, because we are interfering with that hormone's natural ability to take care of business on its own. So leptin is our master hormone in our body that controls the sensation of fullness. So with women who are just incorporating intermittent fasting as a new lifestyle, one of the common comments that we get is that I ate even though I didn't feel hungry because I felt like I needed to get all of my calories in. So that is a classic example of not listening to our hunger hormones and the master hormone when it's signaling to you that you've had enough food, right? And for a lot of women, when we first start practicing intermittent fasting, a lot of these signals are really out of balance, and we haven't created a really good communication system and trust system with our body, and understanding that it does, in fact, know what it needs to do on its own. As soon as we get out of the way, our body definitely knows what it needs to do, right? And so when we feel full, so we get the sensation, the communication is clear, but we think that we need to eat more because we have a certain calorie count that we're trying to maintain, we are in fact overeating. And that ends up leading to this problem of leptin resistance that we have. And so we keep overeating, we keep going against that signal that our hormone is sending to us. So leptin is secreted from fat tissues or adipose tissues. The more fat we have, the higher our leptin levels. And the high leptin levels is really where we find ourselves in trouble, because that's where we end up having more fat that is saved in storage and not utilized as energy. So, how do we battle leptin resistance? The same way we battle insulin resistance, the same way we battle ghrelin being out of control. We have to learn how to trick these hormones into behaving correctly. So I often like to use the analogy of our hunger hormones just being kind of toddlers that we haven't created a boundary system yet, right? So if you're in my intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course, or you're a graduate, lesson 3 or day 3, we talk about our hunger hormones, and we have some tools that we use in class to trick these hormones into believing that they're getting what they need until they have really established these boundaries that we've created for ourselves. And we get that sense of confidence in the state of hungry, knowing that if we move out of the way and stop thinking for our hormones and let our hormones think for themselves, that we will actually be in a state of balance, and the signals that are going to our brain will actually be the correct signals, and we'll trust them. So when we get the feeling of fullness, we will know that the signal going to our brain is in fact the signal that we have enough nutrients, that we have everything that we need for our body to survive, and it's okay if we don't eat anymore, that we can cease eating and that we can resume into our next fast, creating the environment for our body to find everything else that it needs without us creating a new food experience or opportunity. So, how do we balance out our hunger hormones? The first thing that I always say is you have to understand them, right? So, we have to understand the job of leptin and what it does. It's really primary focus or primary job is to keep us from starving, keep our body from starving, right? And so it either hoards fat or it makes fat available to be utilized as a source of energy, which is why it's really important to trust this hormone and to trust those signals of fullness when they are being sent to your brain. And it's also important to trust that what you're doing with a fasting and feasting lifestyle in the 24-hour period is the best environment to train this hormone, and to understand that being hungry in a predetermined or a boundary set time frame for fasting and a boundary set time frame for feasting is the best way for your leptin to trust you and making the correct decisions for it and your body, and for you to trust leptin to actually send you the correct signals of when to feast and when it's okay to fast. So I always say fast long, right? You want to fast long and clean to reset and balance out these hormones. The clean aspect is really important when it comes to balancing out both uh, uh, leptin resistance and insulin resistance, because we want our body to get really, really disciplined in finding what's available already in the source of energy, to utilize that and bring that to the front so that that can be used as the source of what's going to power us through our day. And then what we do in our feasting window will determine how efficient our body is going to be in that next fast. I also say that 20 hours is also the best window for us to train these hunger hormones, because we know that 12-hour mark, or when these hunger hormones are really balanced out, and every hour past that 12-hour mark is just another hour of training that we get to put these hunger hormones in. I always say feast well on nutrient dense foods. When your body is nutrient satisfied, that is the best opportunity for your hunger hormones to be balanced out, because your body only knows the nutrients that it needs to survive. If you're putting in a lot of highly processed food, um, high fructose corn syrup is one of the triggers for a lot of people who are leptin resistant. It's one of those foods that really does put you in a leptin resistant type of environment. You want to make sure you're staying away from those kind of things, making sure you're listening to the signs and signals of foods that are intolerances to your body system, so you're not going against the signs and signals your body's sending you. You also want to make sure that you're training smart, so that the energy that is stored away is pulled out and available to use, right? So we want to make sure that our body knows that we need that energy to be available to us. And if you're fasting long and you're feasting well, leptin will make that fat available as a source of energy. How do you know that? You take a look at your body and you notice that fat is being utilized as an energy source when it starts to disappear, right? That's the best way to gauge when fat is being utilized as an energy source. You will see the physiological changes in your body, and you'll see that what you're not happy with will start to go away. And that's because you'll know that you're using it as energy. We also call that the energized sense of calm here in this community. You have so much energy in your fasted state coming from that storage, or what your body is desperately holding on to, and you're forcing it to make it available. You're forcing your body to make that energy available. Then nutrient dense food in that feasting window helps build that trust. Your body's going to say, okay, you're giving me all the nutrients that I need, and it's going to send a signal to your brain that you're full. You're going to listen to that signal and stop eating and prepare your body for that next opportunity in the fasted state to pull things out of storage and release that as your energy source, aka all those adipose fat stores, right? And then we also need to sleep well. We need to make sure that we're getting restful and deep sleep, because that is really when our body does its job at its best. When we're at rest, when we're not interfering with anything, and our body really does have that opportunity to reset itself. So much stuff is going on with our hormones when we're in a sleeping state. So we really need to make sure that we're doing all that we can to get not only enough sleep, but the correct type of sleep as well. We want to make sure that that is restful and deep. The better you get at fasting, the smarter you get at feasting, the more consistent you are with your training. I promise you, the sleep will just take care of itself, because everything else will start to balance out. So the best way to utilize the fat that you have in storage is to balance out your leptin levels. What is the best way to do that? Stop thinking for your body, let it think for itself. Just move out of the way. This is where intermittent fasting has really proven to be such a great place for us women, is we are giving our body the opportunity to think, and we're just giving it a break. We're giving our brain a break, and we're not going to interfere with anything for a good 20 hours out of our day. And then we're going to take all the information that we have available to us from the signs and signals that our body is sending us and the nutrition information that we have available, and we're going to put that to practice for our future self and our next fast. We no longer think that because we fasted clean for 20 hours, we now have an opportunity to eat whatever we want. We know our body doesn't work that way. What we need to do is feast with the mindset of, how do I want to feel tomorrow? How will I make my body be in the best opportunity or the best position to utilize what I'm not happy with as a source of energy? That happens in your feast. We want to make sure that we're training smart, letting our body know that we have these energy demands, and it's totally okay to release some of that fat as a source of energy for us. And then we want to make sure that we're getting that great opportunity of sleeping well, so that we give our body the time to rest and do its job when we are not interfering in any way. So 4 easy things that you can do to reset that leptin and control the signals that your body is sending you. Start listening and trusting and create those boundaries. I promise you, it will be magic for you for sure. We think oftentimes as women that we are fat, and we are definitely not fat. We have fat. And the beautiful thing about making that mindset shift about the fat that we're accumulating on our body is that we can choose to utilize it. We can choose to make changes so that it is no longer hanging out with us. That's not a relationship that we necessarily have to have if we're not happy with it. But we have to start thinking about our hormones. It is food related to a certain extent, right? But even if you have the perfect nutrition, if you're not creating the environment for leptin to be reset and balanced out, you will still struggle in what it is you're trying to do to reduce body fat. So fast long, feast well, train smart, and then make sure that you're getting that good sleep as well. And I promise you, you'll be so excited with the results that you're getting, and it will be effortless when we just trust our body. Patrice, hello, girlfriend, September 2020 grad. Terry, hello, girlfriend. Life cycle. I have been binge watching your videos to learn all I can. Have tried everything, so I'm praying fasting is my cure. I'm a month in and feeling better already. Okay, so I always say, a life cycle, that when you feel better, you do better, right? And so feeling better is something that I want to make sure that you hold onto tightly, and you remind yourself every day that the things you're doing are allowing you to feel better, because that makes us feel optimistic and energized and excited and empowered. And when you have all of those feelings going on, you just make better choices because you want your tomorrow to be that same feeling. So keep doing it. I promise you, it all starts to click. It just takes a little while for those hunger hormones to trust you and balance themselves out. Jackie, good to see you, girlfriend. Teresa, the energized sense of calm is one of my favorite things about intermittent fasting. Yes, I have to agree. I think it is the best feeling when you can get energy from your own internal production of energy, and you don't have to rely on any outside sources to make that happen. And what I love the most as an ex-hypoglycemic girl is when you're hypoglycemic and your energy is coming from external sources, you do this all day. And when you're in the energized sense of calm and the energy is coming from internal sources, you do this all day. And that even keel feeling that you have from the energized sense of calm is the best feeling in the world for sure. Elizabeth, good earth tea. Sweet and spicy, would it break my fast? Rubio's chicory root. Girlfriend, I don't know. I highly recommend in a clean fast that you do nothing to interrupt the flavor sensation going on in your mouth, because that can send a signal to your brain to release insulin. So I always say, if you're going to have those kind of teas with orange and lemon, those are food type of experiences for your palate and could send a sensation to your brain to release insulin. Again, those are those hunger hormone communication pathways that when the communication is not good because you haven't practiced good communication, there could be misguided messages sent to your brains. I wouldn't risk it if you're really serious about what you want to get with your fasting. Mommy or mom, templative, I think it is. Hi, Sherry. Oh, Sherry. Okay. 2018 graduate. Yep, I'm back. Different mindset, learning so much more, things clicking this time around. Yeah, sometimes you have to do it a couple times because, again, this is so much more a mindset thing and a thinking thing and a feeling connection. So We're so used to, myself included, trusting the diet mindset and the diet industry to just put a plan in front of us and tell us to not think and not feel and just do what's on the paper. And we know that doesn't work for us because we've all done it and it's a short lived experience because it's hard to maintain. So when you have to think and you have to feel and you have to connect the thinking and the feeling to a result, that takes a little while and it takes building up trust and it takes really good practice at the communication and the signal reading. So don't give up. Just keep coming back, keep trying, keep experimenting until you find what's going to work for you, because we should be doing this for our lifestyle. So Sherry, I am super excited that you're back. Keep at it, girlfriend. Jackie, hello. 1 meal a day for a month of March, first week, 3.4 pounds. Is that okay? I have no idea if that's okay. If you're feeling good, I say that that's probably okay for you. Oftentimes when you're trying something new, the first weight loss that you experience is water weight, which is a true weight. So we don't want to discount that. But we have to remember that water weight comes off very quickly because our body doesn't want to hold on to that anyways. So if that's what you got in the first month, just be prepared for that to slow down a little bit, because once you get rid of the inflammation, the weight loss does tend to slow, but that's okay. Yvonne, 2020 grad, the energized sense of calm is the best. Yeah, I swear, I wish I could bottle that and just hand it out to people so that they would trust this process. I do know it takes a little bit of time to get to the energized sense of calm or connect the feeling with the activities that it took to get there. But man, once it clicks, it is magic for sure. Anita, 2020 grad, great taming, Diane. My fasts have been slowly getting shorter and shorter, going for the longer fast again with healthy food, doing at least 20 plus hours this week. Yeah, good for you, girlfriend. The 20-hour fast is great to jump back into. Your body will have great muscle to mind memory, right? So trust that your body is going to be okay with it. Get your mind thoughts out of there and just let your body flow into it and use all the tools that you learned in class for sure. It's Nikki. Okay, it's Nikki. You need to get out of here for sure. Let's see. Elizabeth, you're welcome. It's Rebecca. I seem to have cortisol spike when I fast. Why? How do you know you have a cortisol spike? Do you test for that, or is it just a feeling that you have? And sometimes if it is like a legit cortisol spike, remember cortisol is one of those hormones that gets released when there's, the fight or flight kind of thing, or you're feeling stressed out about something. So I would work on your mindset around fasting. Sometimes when people use caffeine in a fasting window, that could cause a cortisol spike if your body can't metabolize caffeine very well. So I would work on the mindset aspect of it and see if you can put yourself in a more calm state for sure. But I know a lot of people think they have a cortisone spike, but if you're not testing for it, then it might just be something that you think because you've heard it somewhere else. So know for a fact that that's actually what's happening to you. And then Doreen, I missed the first 10 minutes. Are you saying to fast for 20 hours and eat in a 4-hour window? I have fat on my body and I want to get rid of it. Can you eat enough nutrients in 4 hours? Yeah, Doreen, I would watch it from the beginning for sure. Yeah, you have stored nutrients in your body, and that is fat basically. So we have about 40 days of nutrition stored away in our body that we can literally eat off of in a fasted state, as long as we're getting enough water and nutrients. So you'll never starve to death. In today's world, if you have access to food, I know that there are people that are starving, so I always want to be very aware of that situation. But for most of us, we have access to plenty of food. That's the problem. So putting yourself in a 20-hour fast gives your body the opportunity to reset your hunger hormones for sure, and will help you get rid of body fat. Rebecca, I feel anxiety. Okay, so anxiety can be one of those things that is a thought, right? And so if you think that intermittent fasting is something that can work for you and you see the benefits of it over time, then you have to just make sure that your mind is settled in what fasting is for you. A lot of times women bring some situational things with food from their past into fasting today, and that can bring up some anxiety. So I would say fix your relationship with food if you're feeling anxious in a fasted state and see that helps. And then just slowly progress up to a fasting protocol that makes you not feel so anxious maybe. Mary, when I feast, even if nutrient dense food, I never feel satisfied. I want to keep eating to find something that will satisfy me. Does that mean my leptin is off? It could be. Sometimes the feeling of not being satisfied is an emotional feeling and not a real physical feeling. So make sure that you can differentiate between those things. Sometimes you feel hungry after a meal if you have some stress going on in your life. So I would make sure that you know what you're going to feast on during your 4 hour window, and then just remove food from the situation and see if you can settle your brain down a little bit. And then satisfied and stuffed are two different feelings. So satisfied doesn't necessarily mean that you feel like you're up to here with food. Satisfied could just mean that you're not hungry, right? Or you're not in the need for food anymore. So the discipline aspect of that 4 hour feasting window would be something that I would say, build some boundaries around that. Make sure you're drinking water before, maybe water after. That will fill you up as well. And then once you get that discipline and consistency down, then you'll probably feel a little bit more satisfied. And then we have to also define for each woman what satisfied really means, right? Because satisfied feels different for everyone. So just getting food that's nutritious on a plate and then walking away from it might be what you associate satisfied with. So there's a lot of different things with that one for sure, Mary, but I would just keep working on it and work on this aspect for sure. And then if you really feel like you're not getting enough food, I would make sure you're getting enough fat as well. Rebecca, when I fast long term. Okay, so I don't know what long term is. Rebecca, what's long term? And then Sarah, should I drink bone broth to break my fast or collagen? I don't know. I don't, those are those things I don't have a yes or no answer on. I say do what works for you. If bone broth, is kind of a form of collagen as well. So it depends on what kind of bone broth you're drinking. And if that works for you, then I say, yeah, it would not be a place for me to say yes or no for you. You have to find what works for you for sure. And if that makes you feel good, then for sure. One of the things that I know a lot of experts talk about with bone broth and collagen to break a fast is that as soon as you put that kind of protein in your body, it stops autophagy. Or there's some other things that you can do to break your fast that keep autophagy going, even though you've broken your fast. So maybe do a little bit of research on that one for sure. And then Charlotte, I'm puttering around while listening to this, and I kept shaking my head yes and saying, yep, day 72 of at least 24. You know your stuff. Oh, thanks, Charlotte. Yeah, and that's that thing. You just keep doing what's working for you, right? And it's not about being perfect. It's about understanding our body chemistry. It's the one thing we aren't really taught how to do. We're just told to follow the rules, right? And the rules haven't always worked for us. So I say, make sure you're establishing your own set of rules. Make sure that you're very healthy about the relationship you have with your body and the food that you choose to eat, and make sure you're not spinning your wheels in this crazy, thought process of what's good and what's bad. You have to really figure out what works for you. And then just keep making informed decisions for sure. Diane, have you ever noticed when you first started fasting that you were not hungry for past 24 hours? There are days I feel like I can go 48 hours because I'm just not hungry, but I eat something. Okay, so that's your body sending you some really good signals. And I would say, I think that's Sherry, right? I would say go with the signals for sure, Sherry. And if you're not feeling hungry, and you feel good and you understand why it is you're fasting for that long, I say just fast. That's a gift. And yeah, there were times where I could go 24 hours plus and not feel the need to eat, and I would go with it. And then there were times where I'd get to my 20-hour window and I'd feel ravenous, and I would make sure that I just ate really good food for that 4 hours. And I literally ate for 4 hours nonstop. So that's again where you have to listen to those hunger hormones and listen to the signals and just build in those boundaries and that discipline so that your body knows when that 4 hours is up, that 4 hours is up. And when you're fasting for 20 hours, you're fasting for 20 hours. And I say, once you get that discipline and those boundaries set up, then you can really mix in that flexibility. But fasting for 48 hours is like, that's great. And if you feel good in that, you're doing your body some real good healing opportunities in that 48 hours. So I would just go with the flow for sure. If you feel bad, then that's another thing. Like if you're forcing your body, you don't understand why you're doing it. That's when I always question fasting for more than just the intermittent aspect of things, because you can get so much done and you can make so much headway with your hunger hormones and your healing with just 20 hours of fasting and 4 hours of feasting consistently over time and really listening to your body. So sounds like you can thrive in that, girlfriend. So I would say go for it for sure. Okay, so I hope this clears things up. If your body is storing fat, it's usually an indication that your leptin hormone is out of balance. It works just the same way insulin does when we're insulin resistant. It's just not working the way it was designed to work. The best thing that we can do to help with insulin and leptin resistance is to just move out of the way and give your body a period of time to balance itself out, and then understand that the food choices that you are making are either going to hinder or help your next fasting experience, right? So it's all just very common sense, and it all is very personal to us. So practice with some fasting, practice with some feasting, listening to the signs and signals your body is sending you. If you get the signal in your 4-hour feasting window that you are satisfied, that is a really good sign that your leptin levels are balancing out and you need to listen to them. Just stop your feast and go into a longer fast the next day. Remember, what we say here in this community is when in doubt, fast it out, right? So if you're getting those signals, always lean into the fast, because the fast is where you're going to get the best opportunity to balance out your hunger hormones and the best opportunity to heal your body. Carrie, I would work out really early and need a little boost. Do you feel like Energize can be used in a fasted state? I don't drink coffee. Oh, Energize can be used in a fasted state. So, yes, I use Energize in my fasted state. I personally am no longer out of balance hormonally. So, I'm not leptin resistant. I'm not insulin resistant. I don't have any weight issues I'm battling. I'm okay with my body fat. I'm a woman. I'm 55. The body fat I have is pretty much the same body fat I've had my entire life. So I'm really healthy about the place I'm at, both mentally, emotionally, and physically. I do use Energize in my fasted state because it allows me the opportunity to get a better workout. So I have tested it, and it does allow me to be in a ketone producing state post workout. So that would be the thing that I would recommend, is make sure that you're okay with the results you're getting from your fasting and feasting. And then if you incorporate something within your fast, test it with blood glucose and ketone testing. If your ultimate goal is to be in a ketogenic state or a fat burning state later that day, then you have to test that to make sure that you're not stopping that process and then being disappointed and not understanding why. So that would be the only thing that I would recommend. And then Angela, okay, I'll break my fast with just a bite of something to get the yucky taste out of my mouth. Thank you. Yeah, water works great for a yucky taste in your mouth too. Just saying. Just get yourself a nice bottle of carbonated water, and that changes the taste of your mouth as well. Another cool thing to kind of extend a fast, if you're feeling a little iffy about, when to break your fast or what to break your fast with. I love breaking my fast with jalapeno stuffed green olives. So they're salty, they're crunchy, they have a little bit of spice, and they just sort of change the flavor palette in your mouth. Does it break a fast? Yes, it breaks a clean fast, but you're already at the end. And what I found is it helps me keep that energized sense of calm, and it did not spike my insulin, and it kept me in that fat burning stage. So again, if you're questioning where your body is hormonally or chemically, I always recommend testing some things out with some blood testing. That's the best way to figure out if the decisions you're making are going to help you or hinder you. The test that I use is always listed in the description box. And if you want to DM me for information about that, I can help you with that as well. And then Sarah, you are welcome for sure. And then Doreen, in the 4-hour window, are we supposed to eat keto or low carb or anything that is nutritious? Thanks. Okay, so I say nutrient density is always the first choice. I am not a ketogenic diet by the book follower whatsoever. I figured out the foods that work best for me. I don't live in a state of ketosis every single day. I've actually just had the last week where I've primarily been a carb utilizer in my everyday life, and I'm fine with it. I don't see any negative side effects from that. I do a GKI week where I am in a state of ketosis very purposely for about 3 or 4 days. And I have found that works really good for me because I like food. I like a variety of food, and I like to eat like my family. So I've done the work to reverse the problems. Now I just build in some boundaries and some balance with going more on the low carb keto side for a few days a month. Just kind of drains the tanks, keeps me in balance. And then I live very freely but nutritiously the rest of the days. So again, that's that thing where once you build in boundaries and once you know what works for your body and you've taken all of the intolerances out, because remember, when we aren't listening to the signs and signals that our body's sending us, when we're consuming things in our environment and in our nutrition that are causing us to stay out of balance because we're inflamed, that prolongs our frustration and our problems. So you have to be very in tune to the things that you're consuming and how they are affecting your body chemistry. So that's where fasting is one of those, big gifts for us as well, because we step away from interfering with our body chemistry for a certain period of time. And then when we reintroduce food, we know when something doesn't work for us. It comes in the form of inflammation. It comes in the form of moodiness. It comes in the form of fatigue. It comes in the form, for me, it was puffy eyes. Sometimes it's eczema. Like all these things are happening because we're putting things in our body that our body can't tolerate, and it comes out of our body in very unique ways, especially when we're intermittent fasting. So make sure you're paying attention to those as well, because the less irritants you put into your body, again, the faster that you'll balance out. The faster you balance out, the quicker you'll see the results. So it's all in the order in which our body was designed to break it all down. Let's see. Sharon, first time listener. Welcome, girlfriend. Make sure that you have subscribed if you're joining us on YouTube. That way you'll know when we come back here live. Allison, I really think you should remove keto like from your descriptions. Okay, well, I think that's great if that's what you think, but I like keto like. Keto like is this concept. I have increased my fat intake. I have minimize my protein intake, and I am very conscious of my carbohydrate intake. That's keto like. Higher fat, moderate protein, conscious carbohydrates. If that's a trigger for people, I get that, but it works really well for me, and it's the best way to describe the way I consume food. I'm not low carb. I'm not ketogenic. I'm not a vegan. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not a carnivore. I have just created this lifestyle that falls into that description. Higher naturally occurring fats, moderate protein, and conscious carbohydrates. It's keto like, and the end result for me is I can get my body in a state of ketosis anytime I choose to do that. And that is really the definition of keto like. Jackie, I do a combo of keto and plant-based. I'm making out well with IF. I pay attention to my body when I have inflammation. Jackie, you're winning the game right there, girlfriend, for sure. And then Sherry, the husband got cases of the wrong sparkling water. I wanted Mountain Valley, and he brought some Italian sparkling water. Do you suggest any kind of magnesium drops that I could add to it? Sherry, go to that water's website and look up what the mineral composition of that water is. It might be fine. And then the next time, just make sure that, you put on the list exactly send him a picture of what he needs to get. But I'm sure it's fine, because mineral water is mineral water. You just have to make sure that, you understand what the composition of it. So you're looking for magnesium, calcium, potassium, and if possible, sodium. So look at that first. And then if you need to add minerals, because there's not minerals at all in there, then trace minerals is a really good one that a lot of people in this community use. I don't personally use it. That might be something you want to add, but don't add it until you've checked their website to see what their mineral composition is in their water for sure. Okay, any more questions or comments? Great communication today between all of us in our community. I love when you guys come with your comments and your questions. It makes it so much more fun for me, and I know the community as well. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who have the same questions and concerns. So when you step up and ask your question, it helps so many of us here in this community. So I always love it. And remember, the most important thing is you listening to the signs and signals your body is sending you and understanding what those signals mean. Just because your body is telling you you're hungry doesn't necessarily mean that you need food, not new food. Your body sending you a signal that it's hungry could mean that you need to just stay in that clean, fasted state so that your body can learn how to find food on its own from the things that you have in storage. When your body gets really efficient at finding food in storage, that is the best opportunity for your hunger hormones to balance themselves out. And it also creates an amazing healing experience for us as aging women. We will have the opportunity to reverse all the signs of aging that we're not happy with, because we all know here in this community, the goal is to age successfully, and we get to determine what successful is for us for sure. Okay, so with that being said, I think I've got everybody's, no minerals. Okay, so trace minerals might be something that you want to invest in, or maybe just add some supplementation in there. The one thing about trace minerals you have to be careful of is you have to add them very slowly. I know there's a lot of women who felt like they had some digestive issues. Magnesium, remember, can be that thing that can cause you some digestive upset. So just add them very slowly until your body gets accustomed to them, or just ride out the Italian water until you can get some Mountain Valley. I'm sure you'll be fine if you can add maybe some supplementation somewhere else as well. Okay, with that being said, I got to run, you guys. We are going to continue the conversation about hunger hormones on Wednesday. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button so you'll be notified when we go live. I will do my best to remind everybody on the social media platforms as well about our conversation on Wednesday. And then tomorrow, we're going to be talking about habit layering and how habit layering can help you create this lifestyle that you can incorporate for the rest of your life and help you achieve some goals in some other areas in your life as well. So if you can join me on Instagram tomorrow at 1 p.m., that'd be great as well. Have a good rest of your day, you guys. I'll see you around tomorrow or Wednesday.